Welcome back to Realize Training. In this video, we are just going to go through the grid item that is within the basic text item. This is perfect for menu boards, directory boards, anything with lined up or formatted content that needs to be in a lined up style. So we're going to create a menu board today. So what I have is just an image sitting in our background. And I'm going to drag another image on top of it that I was able to find from one of those free stock photography websites called Pixabay. And I'm going to drop that on top because I think it might look nice against the brown boards. And we're going to kind of left justify it a little bit because we're going to drop in some vegetables. As you'll notice, when I drop in an image item, I had already created a menu folder that I can store all of my menu board content. And keep in mind that as you are adding content into your catalogs, just double check the terms of use to make sure you're not using copyrighted content. And in this case, most of everything on that Pixabay website is available for commercial use, so you are pretty safe. Though anybody who may own anything can always contact you. So just be aware of content that you're using for all of your displays. Now, one thing you can do when you have an item selected, such as this pepper here, I want to make an exact copy of it and simply change the image. So use your Control-C and when it is selected, and then Control-V to make an exact duplicate of it. Now, I'll do this a lot of times so I don't have to keep resizing everything to a similar size. Once it's selected on the image properties, you can now select the image and change it to whichever one that you want. Now I will copy the tomato, and I'm going to put the carrot in the tomato spot. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, that'll add just a little bit of a fun element. And then we're just going to throw in a basic text item over here. And we're going to animate this later. We'll come back to this. But for now, I just want to have it here. Change the color of it to white. Maybe I can add in some shadow just to bring it out against the brown background. And I just want to unselect. There we go. And I'm going to bring the size down just slightly because we only want this to be kind of a pop-up message. Maybe even angle it for a little bit more fun. Okay, now let's get right into the grid. First, what we're going to do is drop a regular text item right into over our menu. As you'll notice, any item that you add into your canvas will always be up on top. And remember that you have your layering, that you can send it back one layer or send full all the way to the back or all the way to the front. Whenever you're going to do a grid, I will typically remove that beginner text so that I start with a blank slate. And then there is a table that will, when you click it, that will add your grid. So once you click it, it always starts you off with a 3x3 table. And for this, we just want a description and a price. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is remove one of those columns. On the right, you'll see a remove current column. So whatever my cursor is currently in, that will be removed. My cursor is a little bit tough to see because it's a black cursor, and then you also have a black background. But I'm currently in this first cell. So let's go ahead and just say that we're going to have sandwich. And as you'll notice, each cell will appropriately size as you type to give you more room. I'm going to make it white so that we can actually see it a little bit better. Let's grab a pure white. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is highlight sandwich, and we're going to select a cabin sketch because that kind of looks like this chalkboard outline. Now, you can see my cursor now because I have white text. And to move to the next cell, I can always click on it, or I can just hit my right arrow key. And now I can give it a price, maybe $3.49. Oh, not 35 cents. Let's go $3.49. There we go. I will highlight it once again. We're going to make it white and then go for our cabin sketch. Great. Now let's add a couple more items. Okay, so I quickly added a couple different items in there just for soup. And once I actually throw them in, it's a little bit easier to just highlight everything. And then I will often select the color and then go ahead and select our text, because you'll notice you can actually, each cell is independently stylized. So I could have different styles and fonts for each specific cell. However, the overall text size is constant across all of the items in every cell. So keep that in mind as you are going to be positioning things. A couple other tips that I typically will do if I just have a 2-column format. A lot of times I will make my rightmost column right justified. And again, since each one can be indented individually, I'll just go through and select it. But that means that all of my information on the right side will hug to the right, and all of my information on the left will hug to the left, which makes it a little bit easier to position exactly where I want. So if I want these to be right at the width of those leaves there, I can certainly do that. Now, another thing, once you actually have this right justification in here, if you add another row afterwards, it should follow the same indentation, but you may need to redo your styling. Just keep that in mind. It just saves you a step a little bit. For now, we really don't need it, so I'm just going to remove that row. So I'm going to look for the remove current row. It's the one with the X, and now it's gone. So you'll notice now, after I have my menu board and my content here, another thing that you can do to either give some more space or shrink things a little bit, use the line spacing, which as you slide, it will add more height to each of your cells or squeeze them. And obviously you can also change your overall text size, which will also change that accordingly. There, so I think that fits pretty well. When I unselect it, you'll notice that those boxes will disappear, and now we have this transparent, nicely lined up format. If I want to go ahead and put in boxes around this, I can use my basic elements for a box and a line, and I can do that to my heart's content. For now, let's leave it. Let's just quickly animate each of these little items here so that they will drop in. I'm going to have the pepper come in, and then just a slight delay before we have the drop. And what they do is kind of bounce, so it looks kind of nice when they're all just staggered a little bit. This will be 1 second. And then our made from scratch is going to come in at 1.5 seconds. We'll just have that pop in. And again, if we just want to see those animations, our play button is down here. And now I see my vegetables pop in as soon as this page begins. So this is also great for directory boards or anything else that you can use it for. Apply these same principles, and I hope this video was helpful. In the next video, we will be going through a little bit more design elements and the apps that you can use within the slides.